elaborate protest events.
Massive protest has erupted in New York against Benjamin Netanyahu in support of a plan to completely ban him from entering the city without proper clearance from the International Criminal Court in The Hague. And what makes this protest so powerful is that it's not coming from the usual anti-war groups abroad, but from his own people right there in New York. The very city that once rolled out red carpets for him is now rolling up banners calling for his arrest. And this is the irony born from the election of Zohran Mamdani as mayor. His victory has sparked a new wave of anti-war crimes protest. A movement determined to make New York a city where war criminals from the colonial government in occupied Palestine will find no safe entry or applause. I'll tell you more about who is leading this uprising and why it's shaking Zionist circles to their core. But first, let's look at the panic in Netanyahu's camp. The flood of propaganda being unleashed against the newly elected mayor, and the desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative before it collapses completely.
Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani has a history of anti-Semitic statements. We've showed you, we'll show you again.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas.
Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the Intifada?
That's not language that I used.
Are we ready to end New York State's subsidy of settler crimes? Yes! Are we ready to say not on our dime?
We have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF.
After a short and simple video posted by Mamdani reminding the city's billionaires to adhere to new tax regulations and environmental policies, the Zionist media machine jumped into action, twisting his message into a wild conspiracy theory. Suddenly they're claiming he plans to confiscate billionaire properties, that he's plotting to Islamize New York, and that the city is on its way to becoming some imaginary caliphate. The absurdity of it all is laughable because during his campaign, Mamdani walked, dined and spoke with LGBT New Yorkers, stood with diverse communities and never discriminated against anyone. But Netanyahu doesn't care about facts. He thrives on fear. And he will absolutely fight to take Mamdani down through deception and manipulation. And it's already happening. The latest smear came after Mamdani's simple visit to a mosque, a visit now twisted into proof of Islamic takeover. Yet before we go further, please like and share this video so we can break through YouTube's suppression wall against content like this. And if you haven't already, subscribe right now to support honest journalism.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is such a pleasure to be here alongside so many friends and so many for whom today is the first time I'm having the opportunity to meet you. And this is the first Jum'ah that I have been to since we won our election on Tuesday. Allahu Akbar. And it was an election where we made history. An election where we showed that what New Yorkers and New York City is craving is a city that all of us belong to.
We're here tonight because we love this city.
You see, despite their Islamization propaganda, the Zionists know New York cannot be Islamized just because its mayor happens to be Muslim. America's system of government separates religion from power entirely.
Are Jewish New Yorkers afraid of you? Do you feel the need to appease the likes of Dan Goldman?
You know, I feel the need to live up to my promise to serve each and every person who calls this city home, and that includes our incredible Jewish population across the 5 boroughs. And I've met with Jewish leaders, be they elected officials, be they community leaders, be they rabbis, and I've spoken with them about their hopes for this city, as well as their concerns about living in the city. And when we speak about the rise in anti-Semitism, I often will have discussions around what we can do preemptively and the need to increase funding for hate crime prevention programs by 800% to more than $20 million, and how that can be helpful in tackling this issue in this moment. And I've also heard from them about a desire, for example, right now in the High Holy Days, to ensure that police protection continues to be a fact of life at their synagogues and their temples so that they can practice their faith without fear of their safety. And this is a critical part of what it means to serve this city.
The According to a July poll from Zenith Research, you had a 17-point lead among Jewish voters in New York City with a total of 43% of the Jewish vote in total. When asked about this on CNBC, the CEO of the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, said he doesn't believe the polls. And he said, you have not met with him.
That's true, I haven't.
Will you be meeting with him so he can vet you, I guess, or is that part of your strategy?
No, I think there are far better representations of the concerns of Jewish New Yorkers than the ADL and Jonathan Greenblatt.
In our interview last year, you told me...
Actually, I must add one thing,
Go on.
which is that the other night I went for Rosh Hashanah services in Brooklyn, and I was with hundreds of Jewish New Yorkers, and it was a beautiful service. And at the end of it, as I was leaving, an older woman came over to me and shared a sticker that she had made. And it was a photo of the bagel, and it said, "Reject the smear campaign, join the schmear campaign. Jewish New Yorkers for Zohran."
Demographically, the lie falls apart even faster. Muslims make up only about 9 to 10% of New York's population, roughly 750,000 out of more than 8 million people. Christians remain the largest religious group. Jews and the non-religious make up an even greater share, which means more than 90% of New Yorkers are not Muslim. So the idea of Islamizing the city isn't just wrong, it's mathematically impossible and culturally laughable. Because New York's soul is pluralistic, it thrives on difference. It's home to Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, atheists, and everyone in between. A city that never bends to one ideology. So even if Mamdani prays in a mosque or visits a synagogue, it changes nothing. It only proves what New York has always been: diverse, fearless, and free. That was a Zionist caught painting a swastika on the subway days after Mamdani's election, a deliberate attempt to create tension, to make it look like hate has risen under his leadership, when in fact it's a staged provocation straight out of Netanyahu's old playbook, a tactic designed to weaponize fear and sow division. And while they spread these lies, they conveniently ignore the images of Mamdani meeting with Jewish and LGBT communities.
Real quick, put the flag. Right here, right here, right here, right here.
We recently met and we found out that he's Jewish. His mother was Jewish and his grandmother was Jewish. So, Mr. Mayor, we might find out very soon that you have to. Don't hang out with me. So, welcome to our community. And I want to tell you about Rabbi Indig. Not when your numbers were up, when Adams dropped out. First day he called me up and told me, I like this guy and I'm going to meet him no matter what the consequences are.
Standing shoulder to shoulder with the very people they claim he threatens, that silence from the propaganda machine tells you everything you need to know. Even Piers Morgan, one of the most vocal pro-Israel media personalities, joined the chorus, framing Mamdani as inexperienced, extreme, and dangerous, calling him a wolf in sheep's clothing.
You get very interesting politically, I think, because Mamdani is clearly the most charismatic figure the Democrats have had, really, for a long time, since Obama, you could argue.
Maybe even more charismatic than Obama, if you think
maybe.
about it.
He's more engaging, actually.
Right.
I think he's more engaging. And look, he's an Arsenal fan like me, a big Arsenal fan, so we have that in common. And it's not that I object to his aspirations. It's just that often with socialists, there's a complete disconnect between the aspiration and the ability to deliver.
Adams had stacked the upper echelons of the NYPD with incompetence and corruption. She came in, started to tackle that, deliver accountability, and reduce crime across the 5 boroughs. That is what we would build upon under a Mamdani administration.
For Mamdani, the mission remains clear. He has vowed to fulfill his campaign promises without fear or favor, to make good on the mandate the people gave him, to make life better for the working class, and to ensure that criminals like Netanyahu find no safe haven in or around New York City.
You know, I was on the M57 not too long ago, which is the slowest bus in New York City, 4.9 miles an hour. And I was seated next to a woman who introduced herself to me as a speech therapist. And she told me that she was Jewish, and she said that her daughter is a huge fan in phone banks from college, and that she wasn't so sure. And I'm looking forward to being the mayor for every single person that calls the city home.
Thank you for standing with honest journalism. Your support keeps truth alive. Subscribe to the channel so we can keep exposing what the mainstream hides. And until I see you in the next one, God bless you.